Come on.
Jane Ferguson was the first correspondent for Al Jazeera to be smuggled into Syria during a time when no one knew the dangers on the ground or whether it would turn into a full-blown war.
Daily here in Homs, civilians and Free Syrian Army soldiers are killed by snipers and mortar fire.
An assignment, she says, was her most dangerous.
You're going in blind very much so, but going in was not as frightening or dangerous as coming out, because even in those days in Homs, everything was deteriorating by the hour. It was literally a case of waiting for a raid, waiting for the security forces to come in.
Would you go back?
Right now, I would go back if I had a very, very reliable support structure in there, and if I thought I could get access to a story that was worth the risk. And that sounds like a terrible thing to say, but journalists, whether they admitted it or not, make those decisions all the time. What is challenging for journalists now is the horrific safety record, but to try to get something that is all over the internet. What journalists want to do is they want to go in and do original reporting and tell something vital and new, and it's very difficult to do that. You know, Homs was an incredibly dangerous assignment, but it was a profoundly important story. And the conundrum most journalists, whether they're staff or freelance right now, will think to themselves is it worth taking something this extraordinarily dangerous to get something that is out there already?
Jane hasn't strayed far from those dangerous assignments. Her latest posting in Afghanistan has thrown her into some deadly situations with the Taliban. Back in March, Jane had just wrapped on early election coverage in Kabul. She was back at her room in the Serena Hotel, a prominent place for Westerners and journalists alike. She was finishing up a phone call with her partner when she heard a loud bang.
It felt like it was just down the hallway. Sometimes you can get a little jumpy when you spend a lot of time in war zones, so I thought I'm just being jumpy. It was probably a door slammed. But then about 5 seconds later, I heard bang, 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 and a shout. And it was clearly gunshots. So at that point, it was clear that not only were we under attack, but that the attackers were inside the hotel.
The Taliban had stormed her hotel carrying small handguns. They opened fire on the ground floor restaurant, killing 9 people, including an AFP journalist and his entire family. During the raid, Jane called her producer in Kabul, who then called the Afghan security forces. They were on their way.
I was stacking whatever furniture in my room I could lift against the door as silently as possible, which is actually very difficult to do. We could hear gun battles going on, and then basically once I'd stacked all my furniture against the door, you start charging mobile phones because you don't know how long you're going to be there. You don't know if they'll take you away from there, what could happen.
Is there a point where you go from, say, reporting to surviving?
Absolutely, absolutely. And there was a specific point in this event because it went on for about 3 hours. So for the first half an hour, forget about it. You're just trying to survive. You put the furniture there, you call the people you need to call, you make sure you've got a security exit, like can I jump out the window, can I smash the window? But after a while, you start thinking, should I be tweeting? Which is absurd. But I was on Twitter thinking, I know there are lots of reporters in this hotel. Are they tweeting? And then I'm looking out my window and it's the most dramatic scene. And your inner journalist says, I must film this on my iPhone because it's Afghan special forces storming in, you know, intelligence guys coming, shouting. Just this dramatic scene of the might of the Afghan security forces, which have been built up over the last 12 years. In the end, I decided there really is no point. You can get on the phone live, you can do tweeting, but it's absolutely not worth the risk to let people know that you're there. But the instinct was there to do it.
For journalists specifically, do you feel like it's, is it getting more dangerous?
I think it's getting more dangerous for everyone. And this attack had a huge response from the journalist community in Afghanistan because of the killing of an AFP reporter who was so well respected locally, and his whole family. I think that journalists are often in the most exposed places. They are often in areas where Westerners are, security forces are. They have to be where they are, and basically attacks are on the up. The death rate of civilians is on the up. You know, I mean, so everybody is more at risk.